Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland, New York, New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan.
Iowa, Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesian,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club.
and Wilderness Lodge.
And you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening
to
my
DVC
Points. Welcome home, neighbors, to the My DVC Points podcast. This is a live show recorded on Facebook, YouTube, and today's date is October 15th, 2023. In today's show, we are talking about Tokyo Disneyland, and we've got a trip report coming up with our good friends, Andy and Jolie, and we're going to be diving into their trip and how it happened and everything that goes with it. But before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out of thanks to our sponsors over at DVC Resale Market. If you are looking to buy or sell a Disney contract, and even if you're buying direct, I'm still going to encourage you, go over to dvcresalemarket.com and learn all about the resale market. I'd specifically challenge you to come back in and compare what you're going to pay extra to buy that from Disney versus resale, and take a look and see if those benefits are really worth what you're paying for. At DVC Resale Market, they can save you 40 to 60% off Disney prices, and that's pretty significant. So every single person at DVC Resale Market is a former Disney Direct guide, and what that means is you can get that Disney level of service without having to pay the Disney price tag. DVCResaleMarket.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the My DVC Points podcast. And I am going to welcome to the show today one of the resale agents, Mr. Andy Berry, and his lovely wife, Jolie. Hey guys, how you doing tonight? I guess I'm not doing that. Something happened and their internet died. So let me bring on our producer, Gina, here, and we'll figure out what we can with Andy and Jolie. So did you see anything with them?
they dropped down. They didn't say anything, but I do have some photos from their amazing trip. We could start. I don't know. I have photos of their trip.
Well, we're live. This is what happens when you do a live show. They were here pre-show. Everything was fine. I was noticing the picture was a little bit grainy, but this is a live show for you. This is the fun of it. So
this is what we've got going. And they were on early even. We set everything up. Anyway,
Yeah, it's like Facebook's got gremlins tonight. I think it's Halloween or something. Right?
Yeah, they said they lost connection. I just got a message. They lost connection.
Got it. Okay.
All right.
Well, while they're reestablishing that, let's come back in and look through some of these pictures.
Okay, great.
And
well, do my best.
Okay. And did you get stories on any of them?
Let me start with let me show you the theming of their hotel. This is amazing. I can't believe this. Did they stay in the Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah,
area?
They must have.
Beautiful. Look at this. So cute. This is their whole Alice in Wonderland theme room.
Oh yeah, with the Mad Hatter lampshade there and going down the
good. Looks like they're here.
The deal. So let's drop that down and let's welcome back to the show Andy Berry and Jolie. How you guys doing?
Doing totally awesome.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys could make it back into our show tonight. And so Andy, Jolie, how did this Disneyland trip get started? What was its origin stories?
Our son was going to be graduating high school and hadn't decided where he wanted to go for his trip. And out of nowhere, he showed up and said, I want to go see the cherry blossoms in Japan, of all crazy things. And unfortunately, that was about March when we were planning this, that the cherry blossoms were going. So we didn't get to see the cherry blossoms, but we still decided to go ahead and go on the trip. And if you're going to be that close to a Disney park, you've got to go, right? So we took the first couple of days when we got there, we went straight to the parks for a couple of days and then went on from there to the rest of our trip.
Okay. That sounds pretty awesome to me because I have been to DC during cherry blossom season, and the Japanese government gave us all of those cherry blossom trees for that. And it is just absolutely positively gorgeous when those things bloom.
So we're gonna
I
have to
can
go back.
only,
We'll have to try it again.
yeah, I can only imagine that. And so, and the time they bloom in DC is a really great time of year weather-wise. So I'm hoping it works out the same in Japan as well. Because I looked at going in this January-ish, and it just looked like it's going to be cold there.
Right.
And
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really a short period of time. It's a week or two. That's all that they bloom. So if you miss it, you miss it.
yeah, and I can imagine it's going to be nutso crazy with everybody going there during this
totally.
time.
Yeah. Yep.
But hey, that's kind of the point of this, right?
That's part of it, right? Exactly.
So now we were just talking about this. Where did you guys end up staying? Which was the hotel room? Because we already threw up a picture of it, and I'll bring it right back up of your room.
So it was the Disneyland hotel that we were at.
Okay. And so this looks like an Alice in Wonderland themed room.
It sure was. Yeah. I had dressed up a few years back as Alice. And so now I just sort of have this connection. So when that room was available, I had no choice. I just had to have that one.
Oh, got it. So did you have a choice between themes that you could book?
Yeah, there's a few different ones. I want to say there was a Beauty and the Beast one. I think there was a one of the other hotels has like Stitch. There's a few different ones. Each hotel has different ones that you can do. There's a Mickey Mouse and a Minnie Mouse, and I think that was one of the other hotels. And this one had, I think it was the Beauty and the Beast and one other one.
Yeah, there were three options at the Tokyo Disneyland Resort area. So you can stay at the Disneyland Hotel. You can stay at the Ambassador Hotel, which is more like a retro Mickey hotel. And then you can stay at the Miracosta, which is the correlation I draw is the Miracosta is like the Grand California in Disneyland.
Got it.
It backs up to Tokyo Disney Sea. And it's just a great hotel to stay at. But Miracosta and Ambassador were not available when we scheduled or when we made the reservation for Jolie and Braden to go.
Okay. That's pretty awesome as well. And so Frederica asked, were you staying on points, and was it a good use of points?
I did book the reservation on points only because we had extra points to use before they expired. It was not a great use of points, but it's better than letting them expire.
Yeah, definitely.
They stayed 2 nights, I believe, 2 nights in the hotel, and it was about 270 points.
Whew. Man, that is kind of steep for cost per point wise, because that is.
But it's better than having them lost.
Yeah, I mean that's 135 a night. So I'm just going through my head.
Yeah,
that would
so
be
it's about $1,000 a night.
Yeah. That's. Whew. I have to go check out the cash rates on that. Man, Andy, you're making my head swim on that one, because I'm sitting here thinking 270 points. I could sneak into like a bungalow on off season for 2 nights for that. So yeah, they're pretty proud of their rooms over there as well, and the point costs. But to your point, it's better than letting them go to waste, right?
Yeah, it's not a wholly owned subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. A little bit of history on the Disneyland Resort area in Tokyo is it's a partnership with Oriental Land Corporation. So that is the company that basically runs the operation. And so they've got to make some profit on their return on their investment, and Disney makes the licensing arrangement too. So yeah, a little bit of history from that.
Yeah, and it seems like Disney Imagineering does a lot of the work for what goes on there as well. They hire Disney Imagineers to kind of create it, kind of dictate how their IP is going to be used. And then Oriental Land Company says, yes, we like it and we'll fund it. And
the guidelines.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome as well. And so you spent 2 days there. Did you spend a day in each park? How did that go down?
Yeah, we had 2 days in each park. We did Disney Sea first, just because it was going to be completely new for both of us. So we did that the one day, and then the second day we did Disneyland.
Okay, so you didn't buy. Did you feel like you needed hoppers there? Or did you get everything done in one day?
We were able to do everything in one day. They're not quite as big as these parks are. One thing, staying at the hotel, we were able to get the, kind of get in 20 minutes early as well.
Okay. Early entry then. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have thought it would make a difference. It made a huge difference. The lines to get in are unreal. So those couple of pictures in front of the park and with Goofy, that was as soon as we walked in the park, you're able to get some of those character pictures before everybody else is in there. And then, of course, get to the rides that are going to be with the longest lines. So that was fun.
Okay. Was there like an express pass or a fast pass or anything like that over there?
Just for getting in, you have a separate line and it was backed up for way far to get in the lines. And so we found out there was a side entrance that we were able to go into because we had the tickets from the hotel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is completely awesome as well.
Yeah. So when you book the resort there, you also book the park tickets through the hotel.
Yeah, we got them at the front desk
at
the hotel.
And they take care of all the arrangements.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I would be shocked if they weren't selling some type of express pass or something, because it's not like a Disney park to like not bleed you out of extra cash to get out of standing in line. But
well, Chad, when you use 277 points, there's not much left to be buying.
You bled enough, right?
Yeah, they don't have the fast pass system there. I think they used to, but they don't any longer, or at least not while we were there.
Well, that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
Somebody on Facebook wants to know, did you get early entry on check-in day, or did you try to go to the parks on check-in day?
We had, based on our flight, we had checked in the evening. And so we went to the parks the next morning. So when we had checked into the hotel that late that evening, we at that night booked our tickets for the next day. And that's when they gave us the early entry pieces.
So again, Tokyo Disneyland does a little bit different, where you can buy a pass for the whole day, or you can buy a pass that gets you in after 3 p.m. or a pass that gets you in after 6 p.m. And they're discounted, accordingly.
Okay.
So again, one of those things, if anybody's traveling from the United States over, you'll end up getting into the area around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time you get to your hotel, it could be 6 or 7. If you want to, you can, go hit the park for a little bit.
Oh, that's good to know as
at
well.
A discounted rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I would do. Well, what I would end up doing historically would just be figuring out how to buy an annual pass for like just buying a trip there next year. Like I'm just going to fall on that board and go. That's just the way Chad rolls, right?
Might as well go twice.
An annual pass somehow, right?
That's
right.
funny.
And, I'm going to make it up in discounts on popcorn there as well.
Right.
So now the number one question I have there is like, you're in Japan and some of their food just doesn't quite seem like stuff I would want to eat. Right.
But those were amazing. Those are little mochi aliens, and they were actually super good.
Okay. Cause they look like they're green bao buns or something. And
yeah, nope. Those are actually like ice cream mochis. And then that's the Baymax hamburger.
Baymax burger.
Okay. And
Which I was kind of surprised they didn't bring those out here to California because they're cute.
Okay. Well, I see some fries in the background, so we can sustain life, right?
Yep,
It's yeah, I've got this fear of eating like, seaweed and shrimp flavored popcorn for the whole trip.
Fine.
But
yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. Because I was a little nervous about that myself, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to know as well. And so now I have to ask about Tokyo Disney Sea, because that is supposed to be the legendary creme de la creme best Disney park on the planet. What was your guys' thought?
Yeah. So Andy had been a number of years back,
10 years
and
ago.
that was one of his favorites. So that's why we wanted to make sure we didn't just go once or go one day and try to get both parks done in the one day. We wanted to make sure that we had a chance to spend a full day there because he had said it was so good.
Got it.
When I worked for DVC, I was sent over there for a period of 2.5, 3 weeks to help train the staff there, and I enjoyed Disney Sea immensely. And I do believe it is the best park in the Disney system, although I have not been to Shanghai or Hong Kong, but those are on our bucket list too.
I was gonna say, Andy, we just got to write that wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's we just have to write that wrong. So and my wife has been to Tokyo Disneyland, but I haven't, because I wasn't smart enough at the time before we had kids to take the free trip with her. So, hey, right? I don't know. She wants to go back. She wants to go back. But we had an awesome castle picture up there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the castle there it's neat. It was beautiful. It was raining that morning. So we waited to get a better picture in the afternoon when it cleared up. But you can actually go into the castle. There's a Cinderella's hall that you can go up into, which was really kind of cool.
So I have heard it was somewhat modeled after ours here. So is it like a Cinderella's royal table room that's up there?
Yeah, they call it a fairy tale hall. So there's some, there's like a chair you can sit in that lights up, and you can try on like the glass slipper, things like that. So it was kind of fun, just something different that, again, that I haven't had a chance to do before. So.
Okay. And favorite attractions that you guys found when you were there?
It was fun seeing just things that we haven't had a chance to do here. That's a picture from the new Beauty and the Beast ride, and it was really fun. I had not had a chance to go on any of the new technology rides, if you will, the ones that kind of hover. And so that's the teacup that you're in. They're big, which was great. You can get a lot of people in there, and then they kind of move from side to side a little bit. So like when you're in the ride and you're dancing, if you will, with Belle, it floats. It's kind of a neat concept. So that one was really neat. There's like a pre area before the ride starts. Like while you're in line, you end up in a big like the lobby, if you will, of this castle, and the stained glass windows up above come to life. And there's a whole story going on between them and stuff. It was really amazing. The technology was so amazing. Unfortunately, it was all in Japanese, so we don't know exactly what they were saying. But same thing, just a neat concept of what they had done. And so that ride was really cool. And as you can see, it was real foggy that morning from the rain. That was the first ride we went to get in line, because that line gets really, really long. So with that extra few minutes that we were able to get into the park, everybody kind of beelines to that. So yeah, it was kind of foggy and kind of wild that morning. So that was neat.
Overall, how are the lines? Are they comparable to California? Or
Yeah, it was, we definitely waited, and we were in June, but they were still not out of school yet. So it wasn't like summertime there. Their summer season hadn't officially started. So I don't know how much worse it could get really from summertime, if you will. But yeah, the lines were pretty long. But they do a lot of like the soaring over the world. Same thing. A lot of the lines are indoors, and then they have just some neat things to look at. And again, part of it's because it's new, but there's a lot to look at as you're in the lines. They have a lot of, there's a bird, like a whole bird thing in there, same thing, that flies across the room, and we couldn't understand what it was saying, the whole storyline, but neat that they have stuff to help keep you occupied while you are in line. And then it's a small world. Same thing, the line's all inside. So what you're seeing throughout the ride is kind of what you're standing amongst while you're waiting in line. So there's just a lot to see, which I thought was.
So they've really developed the cues, it sounds like.
Yeah. So that's the view outside of our Alice in Wonderland room. So it's got like the diamond and the clubs and the hearts and stuff from the cards. That's what that was. And then you can see the water back behind it there.
Tokyo Bay.
Okay. Yeah. Was that the train or monorail that was in the photo as well that would take you to Disneyland, or just a bridge and a road?
No. Yeah. I think it's just a bridge. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I figured I'd ask.
Then on the Disney Seaside, we have Autotopia here. They have an Aquatopia. So it, same kind of thing. It not quite bumper cars or anything. There is a track to it, but it spins you around, and that was kind of fun. There's a huge, they call it Ariel's Playground. So there's several rides, but intended for kids. But you go down into a cave. And so there's a whole indoor playing area, which was nice because it was definitely hot and humid that day. But they have like a teacup concept and then a couple of roller coasters and stuff. So again, kind of playing off of the sea piece of it. There's the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was one of the rides, and it was cool. We were able to, that line was actually not bad. So we were able to get on that, but it was a neat ride. Something, again, just nice to see some new ones. There's a Nemo ride, Nemo and Friends. And that was something just different. I think it would go really well here. It's, you go in as a group, but there's a mass, I don't know, probably 50 people at a time go into the ride. But that was fun. And you felt like you're kind of in the water with it. So that was a cool one. So we did go on the Disneyland side. They do have the Country Bear Jamboree, which I miss from here at Disneyland. So we went in there. It was going to be in Japanese too. So some of the songs were in English, some were in Japanese. So that was kind of funny to see, the bears singing in Japanese.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
as well,
so it was
right?
different. They have a tiki room, but it's not the same.
Jose. It's
Yeah,
not Jose.
it's not Jose. It's
Stitch.
Stitch. So Stitch is like crash landed, and so but they did have, which was nice because again, it's all in Japanese, but they actually had a translator phone thing that they gave you, which is the only ride or attraction that they had that for us. But so that was kind of fun. So we could get an idea of what was going on in there. But it was fun. We love Stitch, so that was cool.
Yeah, and somebody on Facebook wants to know: would you recommend what attraction would you recommend rope dropping there?
Gotcha. So definitely the Beauty and the Beast. And then I would say we went to the Soaring Over the World, is kind of what they had recommended at the Disney Sea Park to get to first.
Okay. And I'm assuming that they have like a concierge desk down there and somebody who can speak English that you can ask your questions to.
Yeah, definitely at the hotel. I didn't realize to have the internet piece of it. You don't get park maps. So we were a little bit lost a few times trying to figure out where things were within the park because I hadn't thought to download the app. That was, my fault. Just used old school where you get a map and you could look at it. So we did run into a couple of times where we'd have to talk to some of the cast members to, get some directions on where we were trying to go. But everybody's super friendly. Never had any issues with people not being willing to help or anything like that. Very clean. A lot of people would talk about how clean the parks were, and definitely found that. Not that I think the others are dirty by any means, but
Tell everybody about.
Yes, Duffy. Duffy's a big deal in Japan.
Duffy's a bigger deal than Mickey
Baymax
there.
Possibly, yeah. So there was these hats. We kept seeing like not like the ears, but more like a full hat, and they were furry. And so, and not that I had forgotten about Duffy, but I did not know Duffy has a bunch of friends. And so there was a lot of people wearing cat hats and different other characters and stuff. So we finally found a section that has Duffy stuff. And so we went in the stores, and then it made a little bit more sense on what all those hats were about.
But they have a Duffy meet and greet area.
Yeah.
And I remember from 10 years ago when I went, there are people walking around the parks with Duffy backpacks and Duffy Mickey ears and a large Duffy bear underneath one arm and a small Duffy bear under another arm and a Duffy this and a Duffy that. And it was just, I was like, okay, well, I guess Duffy's the guy or girl.
Yeah. And the backstory there is when they built Tokyo Disneyland Resort, so they wanted something character that would be unique to them. And so Minnie gave Mickey a stuffed bear named Duffy to take with him on the trip over there so he wouldn't be all by himself.
Got it.
Right. And so Duffy kind of became the mascot of Tokyo Disneyland. And he has since kind of like Duffy and has gotten friends with Ulu Mel, and they've made it over to Alani, and like they all have their
Disney Enterprise finding its way to make more money.
Yeah. Well, I will admit I have some Duffy Cookie Ann like all of those stuffed animals that I put behind me when we talk about Alani. And
That's fun.
I should probably bring them out because I talk about Alani a lot. And
You want to talk about these?
So I was going to say the other thing that's really big over there is popcorn buckets. So there's a bunch of different kinds, and talk about people wearing them around. They literally, people will have 3 and 4 of them around their neck at one time. So this
Oh,
is the
wow.
one from Belle that actually lights up from the new ride. And then the other one, I just like the Monsters Inc. one. It was so cute. It's all the doors open and stuff. So those are the couple I brought home. But as far as the popcorn, here you just have your normal popcorn. There you've got all kinds of different flavors. There's wasabi popcorn and garlic and pepper and chocolate and strawberry cheesecake. And there was a whole store where you could buy all the buckets and buy all kinds of different popcorn. But they literally wear several of them around, and you'd see some really cool ones. And it was like, okay, where's that one? And turns out they're old. They just keep wearing them back because they will actually, you can get a discounted refill, which I guess we don't do here. So they do keep wearing their buckets around.
yeah, they do it here, and they'll do it on Disney Cruise Line as well. It's more fun to just buy a new one when you're there than to bring back an old one.
They keep bringing them. Yeah, they literally
Unless you're like, doing some like, I'm a Uber Disney fan flex here and check out my, 20-year-old popcorn bucket that's really super cool. Right. So,
I did not realize how big those were there. And the other thing that's very big is pull the tin. They sell they sell little treats in decorated tins, and you can find they're little cookies and things like that. But chocolates. You can find hundreds of those too.
Oh wow!
That's something I wish they would do that here stateside.
Yeah, somebody asked the question, what's the best souvenirs to bring back home?
Yeah, it's funny. So I'll share a little bit of my story first, and then Jolie can go. But 10 years ago when I went, I kept walking around saying, well, I'm going to look for the stuff that's unique and bring back stuff that, I can't find in the States. And it would be in store A, it would be everything. In store B, it would be everything plus. In store C, it would be everything plus because they didn't have it in the other 2 stores. And when I came back, I had an extra box that was probably, 16 by 20. It was a huge box. I paid extra to bring it all back. And it's just there's so many things there that the apparel is so different than it is in States. And just make sure you understand the sizing differences, because it's a little bit different than what it is here, but it's just all phenomenal. Jolie's wearing a t-shirt now from Tokyo Disneyland. That's absolutely gorgeous. And there's so much stuff there, but let her talk about now what she experienced this trip.
Yeah, so similar, same thing. You see shirts and things that are going to be a little bit different. I did bring a lot of, they're having their 40th anniversary this year. So a lot of the tins I brought back for the family, but it's also for some Disney friends. They, I did the 40th anniversary ones for them.
Yeah. I was really tempted to put my name in the hat and say, hey, bring my kids back a popcorn bucket here. But then I was like, you're probably going to have like bags loaded with stuff, and I'm just not going to be that guy, right? Well, and definitely should have reversed the trip and done Disney at the end, because we did have popcorn buckets that were taking over our suitcases and, having to manage the rest of our clothing and stuff around the popcorn boxes. It would have been easier to do it the other way around. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well when I heard your itinerary, and I was like, I'm just going to chill on this, because I figured you probably would have if I would have asked, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not. Instead, I'll plan my own trip. Right.
Well, there you go.
And buy
get your pass.
Right. Buy my annual pass, and I'll be the popcorn bucket schlepping guy for all the Patreon members. It's guaranteed to happen. Like
you do apparently need a whole suitcase just for those, because there's so many available.
Yeah. So note to self, before my platinum, expires on Delta. Excuse me. Before my platinum expires on Delta, I'm going to need to come back in and book this trip, because I can get like 3 bags back, and one of them's just going to be popcorn buckets.
The hard part is which ones don't you bring back?
All right.
Yeah, that's going to be it as well, is because right now we've got a connection. Our show note writer Jill is in China, and so when she comes stateside and back, my kids get excited, and I think my wife just paid her today for some popcorn buckets. So that's kind of cool for them to get all of the Disney parks. So we're working on it. We've got Japan and Hong Kong left to get.
Nice.
So hopefully I'll knock those out soon as well. So now, did you guys have to like get a visa here? Was there any problems with immigrations or flights or tourism or?
Not at all. Everything went very, very smoothly. It was great.
Okay. And then I'm assuming international flights were good. You flew from probably LAX.
Yeah, LA straight into Tokyo.
To Narita.
It was so simple.
First class, I might add.
Yeah, there was a story there, but
there's definitely a story. we had before COVID, we had a cruise that we were not a Disney cruise, but just a cruise, and it got moved. And so we took it last December, and we had to fly from Southern California to Tampa. And it was the day that all the flights went south. And so our flight got canceled, so we weren't going to make it at all. And so I was able to find some other flights. Unfortunately, the only way we could do it was to fly through Detroit of all places. So we made the connection. We got to Tampa fine. Our luggage did not make it to Tampa.
Oh, no, but the day before a cruise.
Yeah. So
and there's a little bit of a funny story with that too. When Jolie rebooked the flights in the morning that we departed, she screamed up to me and said, "We're going through Dallas." Because she thought DTW was Dallas Fort Worth.
DFW. I read it as DFW, not DTW.
So we flew into Detroit when it was 0 degrees, and then they had no jetway for us to go down. It was just a complete disaster.
Yeah. It was a 20-hour trip or something.
I remember that trip because I was in Detroit then, and you were like, "Yeah, I should have reached out." And
yeah, because we were there quite a long while, although we were mostly just sitting on a plane.
And they kept saying we got on the plane, and the pilot would say, "Oh, we're going to be leaving in about 10 minutes," and then 2 hours later, we got pushed back. And
part of why they kept us on the plane is they kept saying not all the luggage is here, so we're going to wait for everybody's luggage. So we waited for probably an hour on the plane. So I'm like, wait as long as we have to. I want my luggage. I'm fine however long we have to wait. So then when we got to the other end and had no luggage, it was like, okay, seriously, we waited all that time and we still didn't have our luggage. So because we didn't have our luggage, when we got back, I filed a claim with Delta to just get reimbursed for the little bit of clothes that we did try to buy at Target on the way to the port that morning. And so we ended up with the CEO's admin, and he was talking through us. So we were, you can laugh about it after it happens and you've had no clothes for a week, but so he just thought it was hilarious. And he kept saying, "I am just so sorry. I don't know what I would have done. I'd be so upset." So he gave us 4 tickets to anywhere in the world in first class. So being that Braden hadn't decided where he wanted to go on his big trip for his graduation, it was like, well, we're going somewhere big. We're not using this ticket to go, to Texas or something. So that's how part of that ended up, is we ended up first class to
when you're saving $15,000 in airfare, it makes it a pretty affordable trip, no matter if you use 277 points.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm going to blow an insane amount of Delta frequent flyer miles out when I go, but it's got to happen. And and we do have direct flights from Detroit to Tokyo as well. Yeah. So because of all the automotive industry going back and forth.
Yep.
So,
of course. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we definitely got that going on as well. So do you guys have any other pro tips or final advice for families that are thinking about coming back in and booking a trip to Disneyland?
Yeah, there's one thing I want to share that I experienced 10 years ago, and I think Jolie did the same thing, is I was there when the electric parade was there. And
it's still there.
One thing that I thought was extremely fascinating is that we got to the park a little bit late on the night I went, and the parade was about ready to start, and everybody was sitting on the ground in sort of like, not roped off areas, but everybody was sitting down. And I figured, well, what the heck, what's going on? Maybe they'll get up once the floats start coming by. And out of respect and courtesy for everyone that's at the parade, so a little, you know, a 2-year-old kid who can sit and watch, and a 70-year-old person can watch sitting down. There's no obstructed views.
Mhm.
So to me, that was just an absolute tremendous display of respect for everybody else that was there. And I remember that distinctly. And it was just something that stood out in my mind.
Well, it was interesting because everybody pulls out their own like mat. So they fold out this mat and they've like literally take their shoes off. The shoes are on the side of the mat. They're all sitting as a family on the mat. But you're right. It was everybody can see. You don't have, you're not dodging around people and things like that. So.
And that way you don't have to worry about, if it's a 6:30 parade, you're not there at 4:00 getting the closest spot on the curb.
Yeah, that's awesome because there's no kid on somebody's shoulders in front of you and people holding up their cell phones, blinding you at the night show. Don't even get me started on theme park etiquette here.
We were at Disneyland yesterday, and I think there were people sitting on the benches in the curb at 2:00 in the afternoon for a 3:30 parade.
Yeah, it's crazy what we do here. It's just absolutely crazy. So okay then.
The other thing, when you talk about currency exchange, you took some money with you, and it wasn't an issue. You can find currency exchange everywhere.
Yeah,
they're very the Japanese culture is very accommodating to guests, and they just love people coming there to spending money. And when you're spending at Disney, it's even better.
Yeah,
it's magical money.
There was also the tour guide that I ended up working with once we went actually into Tokyo City. He had mentioned, thank goodness, a lot of the hotels in Tokyo have a free shuttle back and forth to the parks. So, which I wouldn't have known to even look for. So we were able to, at the end of our day, after spending our day at Disney, I want to say it was at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. We just had to be at a bus station outside of the hotel, and they drove us into Tokyo right to the hotel that we were going to be staying at.
The complimentary bus service.
But they take it from the city as well back in the morning for the day as well, if you wanted to do that, which is helpful.
So you don't have to stay right within the resort area.
That's good to know, because I have heard from the Point and Mile community that there's a Hilton property right outside, like it's a monorail stop away.
That's where I stayed. I stayed at the Hilton at Tokyo Bay.
And that was a really great place to stay, and also a great use of Hilton points if you're going to accumulate those and cash them in there.
Yeah, there's like International Row of the hotels down in Walt Disney World. It's the same thing at Disneyland, or in Tokyo is probably half a dozen or more hotels that line up the Tokyo Bay area.
Okay.
And so it's literally right across the bay from Narita Airport.
Yeah, and there's a brand new Toy Story hotel. We didn't get a chance to go to it, but I've seen some pictures online. It looks absolutely amazing. So that would be a fun one, but it's not as, it's like literally the Disneyland hotel. We walk out of the hotel and you walk into the park. It is right there.
It's kind of like Grand Cal level close.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, so the Toy Story one isn't connected quite like that. But.
Well, yeah, I'd say the Miracosta is more like the Grand California Hotel, because it shares the hotel shares the gate to get in the park. The Disneyland Hotel in Tokyo is better location than a Disneyland Hotel in California. To the parks.
Yeah.
But absolutely. It's so convenient.
Okay. Well, maybe it's worth the 270
maybe
points.
Maybe I guess the correlation would be our home resort would be Bay Lake Tower. 852 steps to the Magic Kingdom front gates. It's probably a little shorter walk definitely a shorter walk from Tokyo Disneyland, the Disneyland Hotel in Tokyo, to the main gate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, those are some awesome questions as well. We did have a question pop up here that we answered earlier in the show. What's the process to book Tokyo Disneyland Ambassador Hotel using points? And
so the other thing is you don't have the traditional 7 or 11 month window to book through member services. It has to be booked through member services, but they can only book out 6 months in advance. So we actually, I think, booked this in February. or maybe March. But we were within the 6-month window, but you still have to call member services. And while you're on the phone with member services, they'll put you on hold, and then they call over to Tokyo and find the hotel you want to, stay at, and they'll find availability, and then they'll tell you the points.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The other thing I would tell you,
$95 exchange fee. I think it was 95 or 125. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, the other thing I would tell you as well is check out DVC rental store as well to see if they could somehow rent your points out and book that.
Yep.
Because I know Disneyland Paris, I got corrected by a bunch of our travel agents saying, hey, we can book packages at Disneyland Paris. So if they could do that, they might be able to book Tokyo Disneyland as well.
Ellie Boyer can do that for you.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah. So they can definitely do that, and they'll get you a little bit higher dollar per point, because right now Disney Direct is doing about $8.88 a point when I looked at the last conversion on the point chart from the Treasure compared to cash. And they can at least do $12 a point all day long, no questions asked. So that's almost a 25% increase right there from just doing that over at our partners at DVC Rental Store. So Andy, Jolie, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And yeah, if you guys want to buy or sell a contract, you can talk to Andy, and feel like we should have your phone number here, but I probably deleted it from our last show. So go ahead and tell it to us, Andy.
So it is 949-412-0850. Again, 949-412-0850. And Chad, how do people most remember me?
By the bottom of Woody's boot. There it says. That's why he's got on the screen here, Toy Story Andy. So you'll never forget his name. Pretty clever marketing and personal branding there, Andy, for coming in and setting yourself up here. But anyways, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. A huge shout out of thanks to all of our sponsors at World of DVC, DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial. Also, a huge shout out of thanks to our Patreon community as well. And I've got good news for everybody. Our event that's coming up at the beginning of next month, it's actually around Veterans Day, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. We're having a meetup with my friend McNair Wilson, who's a former Disney Imagineer. After he left Disney Imagineering, he went over to Universal Creative and did a kind of a mock-up of what became the first draft for Seuss Landing over there. So he's gonna be in town, and we're gonna having a meetup with him, and we're gonna be going over to Universal Creative for a day and walking around. No, I take that back. We're going over to Universal Studios to walk around Seuss Landing. Everything will be on stage, and he'll point out some of the things that he drew and concepts and why things are there. And you'll get to go walk and tour the park with an Imagineer. And then the next day, we're going over to Hollywood Studios, and we're doing a on-stage tour of Hollywood Studios and Sunset Strip, which was his big project when he worked at Imagineering, and he's the lead designer of the Tower of Terror. So you'll actually get to ride the ride with the guy who came up with the concept and led it through its development, which is a whole new level of Disney awesomeness there. I'm just... having done it a few times with them, I'm just telling you that's a really cool thing to come back in and do. And then the following day, we're doing like a brunch with an Imagineer, and you can continue to ask questions and hang out. And we are getting a catered Ohana meal from Chef Callie. So if that sounds interesting to you, drop me a note, mydvcpoints@gmail.com. We'd love to have you come back in and join us there. That is a paid event, and we are doing this as kind of a fundraiser for our friend McNair, or you can get more information at mydvcpoints.com/events. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next week with another live show.
Welcome
Thanks.
home.
Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.